your mind. I am in your... Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Absinthe After Hours podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Vincent, a background designer for the Hollywood animation industry.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator, and this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like.
Now today we're going to talk about Robin Diangelo's White Fragility.
But before we get into it, make sure to smash, jingle, touch all our bells and buttons.
Over there.
Please and thank you.
Thank you so much.
And because you're listening to this podcast, you're going to have a great week this week.
How great of a week.
A very, very, very great week.
Oh man, how good do they look? Look.
Very, very good. Very good. Very
T-shirt, good. Pajamas.
Sweats, leggings.
Sweats and leggings, yes. So, a whole lot of craziness has been happening once again in this new season of America.
Yes. And it kind of pertains to me now because of all this anti-Asian whatever this is. And apparently,
What? I
am Asian again.
What? Oh, I can't wow! Oh, look at you! Look
I'm
at
a minority again.
Janet's a minority again!
I'm a person of color again. I am no longer white.
Uh-huh.
Because if you didn't know, apparently the paler Asians are considered white.
No longer do they have spoons in their mouths. They are oppressed by the people at the very top.
I am an oppressed person again. Cool. This is ridiculous.
Who writes this shit?
I don't know. Well, Robin Diangelo.
Oh yeah, that's right. The writer, Robin Diangelo.
So, yes, a lot of this stuff, anti-Asian whatever stuff has been happening, and because of that, a lot of people on the left are having a very hard time living up to these standards.
These impossible standards.
Yes.
That they've laid out for themselves.
Yes.
Oh.
People in politics, people in entertainment and journalism, in culture as a whole.
So speaking of culture, looks like something happened with the old Teen Vogue.
Yeah. I think the new editor-in-chief got fired because she had some anti-Asian sentiments, some racist Asian sentiments on Twitter quite a few years back. And all of the stupidity of all of this just came full circle, and we wanted to talk about White Fragility because we had read it.
Yes,
we actually
read it, or more specifically, listened to it on the way back from our trip to Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't know. I came up with it because I thought it would be a fantastic idea.
Because we want to know. We want to know what if we are to live in this
brave new world.
This brave new world.
Your brave new world.
I want to know exactly the rules that we're living under.
Like, okay. How do we act?
Yeah. What is acceptable in polite society?
Yes.
And what would, if we were aliens that were beamed down to Earth, this is exactly how to follow the rules of America. I would like to know.
As of 2021.
Yes. Also, I thought it would be good to share what I learned, because I did talk about how I read Ben Shapiro's book Bullies a while back, and I wanted to get the polar opposite as well. I don't think it's completely fair to just be like, oh, this is
Janet Chan's one of those rare people that likes balance.
Yeah.
Wow, what a novel idea.
And to be honest, I don't think we're ever gonna do like a review of Ben's book. So his book is fine. I don't like whatsoever all of his views and all the chapters that he has on LGBTQ, because I think it's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But in this,
But Ben's also very into his religion.
yes. So I guess makes sense.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I want to know. I want to know exactly the rules that we're living
we tried
by.
to understand.
Yeah.
And now we're trying to understand the other side.
Yeah. And it was
Enlightening.
yes. We wanted to talk about it so many times, but I think now is finally the time because I am once again a person of color.
You are not white.
I am not white. If you couldn't tell, I am a yellow person. Yes.
So Janet Chan, what was your just first guttural reaction to it? Because we were able to finish at least 90% of it.
Well, I finished 100% of it.
Right, I didn't get to finish all of it.
Yeah, the
I
last
finished
chapter.
90%. Yeah, I didn't read the last or listen to the last chapter, but you did because the car ride from California, Arizona, pretty long.
Yeah.
Pretty long.
Yeah.
But what was your general reaction to the whole thing?
I kept going, wow, this person thinks this? Because I guess, to be frank, it's incredibly racist. Like, really, beyond my expectations. I kept going, wow. I can't believe you said that.
I can't believe you wrote that.
Yeah.
I can't believe publishers and editors were just like, this is all fine. This is all fine.
Yeah. Under the guise of trying to not be racist and trying to get other people to not be racist.
It's like a white self-improvement.
Yeah,
Almost like
but
for
then I would call it like white self-flagellation. So there's this chapter. This is like pseudoscience, I would like to call it, because she drenches her language in a lot of like intellectual speak.
Professor speak. University speak.
Yes, but in the same way when I describe like a lot of people I grew up with in school, when they are trying really hard to flex that they're really smart in an essay, they use unnecessarily big words.
Oh, come on. Everybody's met somebody like that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Or like they try to one-up you intellectually all the time by using really big words. And it's this condescending way of speaking that is just kind of, it delegitimizes them in a way, in my eyes, because I'm like, if you were trying to communicate, you wouldn't be using these big words. You're just trying to flex.
Well, the Shapiro uses big words too.
I think there's a difference when someone uses it like clearly in their everyday speech and someone literally being like saliency. Who uses saliency in everyday speech or even to what? Why? Just say like, oh, scene.
Yeah.
So, she drenches her language in like this really complicated way of speaking to be like, oh, I'm an intellectual, take me seriously. But then she doesn't really give you a lot of hard facts, and she talks about her own personal experiences doing these workshops, these diversity workshops. I don't even know what it is actually. It just seems like a weird struggle session, where like she talks about like,
for people who don't know what a struggle session is, what is it? Gamers understand it's The Last of Us 2, but like how would you describe it for like everyday people?
God. It's basically when like you're forced to like basically people guilt you in a group into like basically announcing your guilt, announcing your shame,
and commiserating and wallowing in it.
Yeah, and everyone's like pointing at you like you're an awful person and you have to kind of sit there with a dunce cap. And,
right,
like,
you're explaining exactly what I was thinking. The picture of the Chinese pointing fingers
at the other Chinese because they're not communist enough or something. I don't know. Yeah. So that's a struggle session, and these are like her workshops. And she's a lot throughout her book. She talks about stories that she witnesses between like people of usually white and black people interacting in really poor ways because of the nature of her struggle session workshops. Just like getting everyone together and talking about race and how much they hate each other. I don't know. She talks to this black man who's like part of her workshop or whatever, and she asks him, what would it be like if we could all talk about race openly without like any like friction, I guess. And he's like, oh, it would be revolutionary. And this is a part of the book where it really disturbed me how literally, this is probably like maybe the third story in the book, where she gets too much pride in when a black person compliments her or like says something good about her. But in this instance,
she really wears it on her sleeve.
Yeah. In this instance, he wasn't talking about her. He was talking about the idea.
The idea, yeah.
But she repeated it in her book like revolutionary. He said it would be revolutionary. As if referring to herself as a revolutionary. And I was like, first of all, he wasn't talking about you. Second of all, why are you so prideful about, like, this is strange. Like, Ben doesn't go like, oh, he states stories and facts. He just states them. He doesn't go like, where
I know these things.
Yeah.
I know these things because I know these things.
So yes, my first impression of the book was just immediately like, you are very like into yourself. This Robin Diangelo person's really into herself and her role of as a white apologist, I guess. And she is really racist because she keeps saying things like, my fellow whites out there. I'm like, whoa, who says stuff like that? What is your first impression of the book?
I thought it was the most openly racist thing I've ever been exposed to.
Yeah.
I've been exposed to a lot, but this in modern era was like, wow, you're openly thinking and admitting to these things. And I really, we live in Los Angeles. We hang out and, break bread with all sorts. Yeah. I don't think these people think these things. No. And a lot of the times when we were driving, we were listening to all this stuff, we were both thinking and saying out loud, I think that's just you.
Yeah.
Like for example, the guy who was like, oh yeah, that'd be great, that'd be revolutionary, and her thinking that like she's really internalizing this praise.
Yeah.
That's not even like praise for her, just praise for the hypothetical.
Yeah.
It's fucking batshit loony. And there are so many instances. Like there was this German lady who just, came to America, has no clue. I mean, like, just no clue about anything about anything.
Probably was forced to go to this workshop.
Yeah.
That she was running.
by her employers who don't want lawsuits.
Yeah.
Or any unpleasant stories on the internet, which is like, just, you know how the vultures are.
Yeah, like, you don't have a diversity HR person. How dare you? You don't care about...
And then the company is forced to pay, out of pocket for this goddamn diversity training person to shame people. And then, for example, this German lady was in this training session going like, oh, I don't have any preconceived notions about these things. I immigrated here,
Yeah.
And then she said something like, you've seen movies, right? You've listened to music, right?
Yeah.
Like, surely you know. So surely... you are born with original sin. Yeah,
it's like, because you are German, because you are a quote-unquote white person.
Ridiculous.
You can't, even though you immigrated here, you have nothing to do with America, and even though you didn't even participate in American history, you are still racist. Because you participate in the racist system of society. You
just by living and being in contact with popular culture, anything like that, you just somehow know the rules of being racist or something like that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And the most amazing part of the story she's telling is Robin Diangelo's interpretation of the outcome of each of these stories, because a lot of these stories, her opinion of it, or like what she got from it, is different from what I got from it. I'm like, I read that situation completely differently than you, and I don't think so. Like, for example, this German lady got really offended when basically Robin Diangelo called, like, it doesn't matter, you're white, so you're racist,
no matter what.
And the German lady was like, you are racist. I don't want to be taught anything from a racist, so I'm not going to be in this, whatever this is, was workshop.
Yeah, being a self-respecting person leaves the workshop.
Leaves it, yeah.
And then fucking Diangelo goes, another instance of white fragility.
Yeah. I was like,
so let's define this term that like she wrote this little pamphlet about. Like what is, define white fragility, like after listening to this whole thing and thinking about it.
So Robin Diangelo's definition for white fragility.
Robin Diangelo, also professor, wrote a book
called White Fragility.
Yeah. And apparently everyone from Hollywood to everyone in politics, this is just their doctrine now.
Their Bible.
This is their Bible.
Yeah.
And so if you're not hip to it, you are a racist.
Yeah. And
unfortunately,
this isn't everything. This isn't animation. This isn't entertainment. This is Hollywood. Like, after I read, we listened to this book on our drive home. We were like, oh, so much makes sense now about the strange things that has been happening in our media.
The only good outcome that I could possibly think of was that realization of like the understanding of like, oh, this is where everyone's coming from.
Yeah.
It's this fear and the shame and the self-disgust for one's history, and it's just like, but now here we are.
Yeah.
we are literally eating ourselves. Yeah. Sarah Silverman is tapping out and going, I don't want to be associated with Democrats anymore because she is smart and knows that she will be next.
Yeah.
And so will so many of the people, her peers,
Yeah.
very, very soon, like dominoes.
Yeah.
So she's already covering her own skin.
Yeah, self-preservation.
Yeah,
she knows what's coming.
No, this isn't for like any sort of like, benefit to anybody except herself.
Yeah. But so Robin Diangelo, her reaction to white fragility.
Right, define it.
White fragility, according to Robin Diangelo, is a white person's reaction to having to talk about race, which in her opinion is always negative. It's like,
and defensive, I'd say.
Defensive, you cry, they get mad, they say
all sorts of instances
of like, oh, I'm not racist, and
almost like one was insulted.
Yeah.
To be called racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is basically a book about every single time she's called someone racist and they got mad at her for it. Like, she goes, each chapter is basically one by one refuting anyone who's ever called her a racist, and also why the problem she has with other SJWs, basically other woke people who are basically not woke enough in her eyes.
Okay.
And like, she straight up says like, this book is most useful talking to other progressives. Yeah. And I was like, because she's like, oh, the progressives who think that they finished their work, they are the worst of them. And I was like, is that not you? And so that is white fragility, according to Robin Diangelo.
I don't know. To me, that sounds like the normal reaction to anyone who's being accused of being a racist. You just be like, hey, man, I blah 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 blah, and give out all sorts of reasons. That just seems like a very normal guttural reaction to do that.
Yeah.
But to her, it's a sign of white weakness, which is just weird. I can't believe that came out of my mouth. But, like, that's so weird that that's so weird.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
She has a whole chapter explaining that like, her definition of racism is not your definition of racism. Because she explains normal people's definition,
Everyday people?
the dictionary definition of racism is, or racist people typically include like white supremacists and Nazis and all these types of people or whatever. But then she goes on and goes like, her definition, because she's changing definitions now, her definition of racism is anyone who participates in the system of racism, like this racist system. Therefore, everyone is racist except for, people of color, specifically black people, but like, which we'll get into later. But like everyone else, literally everyone else participates in racism, according to Diangelo. Therefore, when she calls you a racist, it doesn't mean that you're a white supremacist, you believe all these things to her. But she expects other people understand her definition of racism. Therefore, she's like, oh, no, I'm not calling, you are racist, but I'm not saying you're a white supremacist, I'm just saying you're racist. And it confuses people, and obviously they would get offended and like, what?
That's offensive and angry.
And they're like confused. Like confusion. Yeah. Confusion is another one of like, what? Why? And like, she's like, that bewilderment, that confusion is like your what's the word? It's your cognitive bias. And I'm like, no, they're just confused by you.
And insulted.
Yeah. They're like, why are you calling me racist?
Or implying. That's not cool. Like, unless there's I don't know. I don't think it's polite in a what do you call this? In one of these HR, what do you call this? Diversity sessions to go about and point fingers. I don't think that's productive at all.
Why are you racist?
How is that productive? How does that help anyone? What is? And then it makes me think like, what is the goal of diversity trading?
It was always supposed to be like, oh, diversify the workplace equals a better outcome, better ideas, better all the stuff, which I think is great. Great. This is something else.
Pointing fingers.
At
shaming people.
Certain,
like the Gina Carano thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
they wanted to put her on a Zoom call. A bunch of 20 or more people who hate her, I guess, because of what they assume she said.
20 or more.
Yeah, that's just, again.
And then I just kept thinking, like, what is she supposed to do? Just sit there and get people, like, shaming her.
Yelling at her?
Like, that's
a struggle
disgusting.
Session. That's not helpful.
Like, that's not productive. That's not helpful. It's not, dare I say, American. That's disgusting.
Like, what are you getting out of this other than a weird, sick satisfaction of torturing a woman?
Yeah. And
shaming her publicly.
And enjoying watching them submit.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. You people fucked up. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's just...
We really think they're in a cult. Like, this is fucked up.
So one instance of when we both were like, no, I think this is just you, Robin Diangelo. I think you think some weird, messed up stuff. I think something's seriously wrong with you. Yeah. I think you need help. Where she's talking about this barbecue story.
Oh my god.
She is invited to a barbecue at the park, her friend's barbecue. She talks about, when I arrived to the park, there were 2 barbecue parties. One was majority white and one was majority black. And I had a split second thought that, oh, I would have anxiety going into that party. But then I also then immediately felt relieved when I saw my friend in the white party. And we both were like, I think, she was like, oh, this is what white people feel. And I was like, no, I think that's just you. Yeah. I think, this is anyone who's not black, this is how they feel. I was like, no, I'm sorry. I would, in that situation, I would not be thinking, oh, God forbid, I have to go to this party. I don't want to go. No.
Like, which party is my friend in? Yeah.
I'd be looking for my friend.
Right.
I would not be like, oh no, what if my friend is in the black party? I don't want to go in the black party. What the heck? That's so racist. That is so racist. That is so racist. I just can't even comprehend why she felt that way. And the thing is, I'm like, we have white friends. I do not think they feel this way.
I don't think so. Especially in animation, just like there's everyone works from all across the world, and I don't think anyone's thinking that when they need to sit after they've gotten their crew lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, which table? It's like, geez Louise, what era do you live in, lady?
I just felt very like, what is the problem going to the other party? Like, I don't understand. Like, they're probably gonna have like better tasting food. Like, I don't know. Like what? I don't understand. Genuinely, this is
a non-issue.
Insane that you would think that you had that thought. You, Robin Diangelo, you had that thought. I didn't have that thought. You didn't have that thought. As she was telling this story, I didn't know where it was going to go. It was kind of ridiculous.
And I thought something was going to happen after she met up with her friend, but the actual point of the story was the anxiety she had.
Yeah.
Like going like, oh, which party?
Yeah.
Ah.
And then she was like, this is why all white people are like that. I'm like, no, I don't think so. That's you. Another weird thing that there's a chapter on the oppression pyramid. And if you don't know what the oppression pyramid is, it's basically there are certain people who are more oppressed. The most oppressed people are at the top. They're the people that everyone, I guess, needs to kneel before. And at the very bottom are the least oppressed people because they don't deserve to be human, I guess, according to Robin Diangelo.
Right. And they owe it to everyone.
Yeah, to everyone.
To everyone. To just take it, basically.
Yeah. But, the problem I think with this book is it's literally so black and white. She doesn't take in consideration every other type of person other than the black and the white. And in it, she's talking about like oppression and like African Americans have like historically been the most oppressed, and white people are all Robin DiAngelo straight up says that white people are superior, and that
I had to rewind it.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe you.
She literally said that.
I was like, wow.
And she literally said black people are the most inferior. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
How is this a bestseller?
Where was your editor and your... How is this okay? How are you allowed to say that?
Oh my god.
And I was just like, okay, you think that, okay. Don't start assuming that everyone thinks like you.
Yeah, that could just be you,
yeah,
though.
that's just you.
You know? That could just be you.
But then, so she's talking about this, and she usually glosses over every other race. So she randomly said, the stereotypes that I have for Chinese people are different between the stereotypes I have for Japanese people. And then she just never explains herself. She just moves on. And I was like, no. Go back. Explain.
Expound.
Even if it's incredibly racist, I want to know. I want to know what you meant by that, because I genuinely have absolutely no idea what you meant by that. That's so vague and like weird. That was a weird thought you had that you felt like you had to write in this book. I don't know what that means. Which I guess brings me to her... The reason why this is all batshit loony, she basically, to understand all this, she doesn't think of society as a group of individuals. Like, she won't look at me and say, Oh, that's Janet. She literally says like, oh, everyone is a part of a group, and you don't really have individuality outside of that group. And she's talking specifically about white people in this instance. She later clarifies that like, oh, people of color, they're allowed to have individuality, but white people, because we are white, we are we are the whites, fellow whites. And she goes, white people are part of a collective. And that is why, even though, I don't know, whoever, Rachel, you are white, even though you say you are not racist, you are, because you are part of this white group who have historically been racist. So that's the way she thinks about it. And that's why she's like, people of color...
Well, it's like by association.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Oh, man.
So because you will always be part of this group, you can't not be part of this group. You are in this group. That is why she generalizes so much. And why this book comes across incredibly, incredibly racist. Because she generalizes about almost every group of person. Every single group of person. And it's really particularly bad when she's talking about people like herself, progressive white women. She really hates progressive white women like herself. She really hates herself.
That's what I kept thinking too. Like, this lady hates herself, and not only that, it's like she wants other people to
also hate herself,
hate themselves. Yeah. It's continue though. It's ridiculous though, and I can't believe. No, my shock still is like, I can't believe us as a culture, American culture, is embracing this horseshit and taking it seriously.
Yeah,
it's maddening to me.
So,
man,
she basically says that like, depending on where you are on this oppression pyramid, you have more rights to be an individual. You can think for yourself. So she's basically like shielding herself from like, oh, I'm not generalizing about black people, I'm not generalizing about brown people, I'm not generalizing about them. God, I would never. I'm generalizing about, the race everyone should hate white people. And I was like, you are so... These are levels of racism that I never thought I would ever experience. Because of the nature of this, I think in the very first chapter, she talks about original sin. And, like, inherently, she says, like, you're born racist. Like, even babies are racist, basically. And she quotes a lot of studies and stuff like that. And so she's like, white people are born with original sin, and that's why it is impossible to not see color, because we all see color. That is like a fact or whatever.
Yes, because like she goes on for almost the entirety of a chapter listing out almost every defensive argument someone could possibly make after being accused of being a racist, and then dismantles why it's a shitty argument. And essentially every argument defending yourself is a shitty argument, and you're just supposed to just take it. She doesn't provide any solution at all.
No.
From the beginning to the end, it's just you fucking sit there and you take it.
You take it, yeah.
And it's that's no way to live. I don't wish that on anybody. That's no fucking way to live, man.
Yeah, and you said, like, what, man, this really mirrors the way you grew up.
Yeah. The whole idea that what you're born with this thing and all, and what you have to spend years. So she feels like if she's ever accused of being racist, she thinks that she can't possibly be, because she paid her penance. She paid her dues. She researched about all of this stuff. She hasn't yet figured out mixed race couples though, and how that works out. She admittedly says that in the book, but she goes and says, that's just how it is. This is exactly how it is.
Yeah, so like this, like, not seeing color thing. She criticizes color blindness, like, oh, you can't not see color. You see, even babies see color, and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, so that's where, oh, what was it? Like Rebecca Sugar got the whole, oh, you must see color, that weird advertisement thing.
The more you know.
Steven, yeah.
The more you know.
I was like, oh, that's where this is from.
Yeah, everything started to click,
see.
and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So this is what the industry is really into right now, this book.
Yeah. Like so executives, all the people you're hiring, I'm sure. So I have this theory: executives don't give a goddamn shit about politics.
No,
they're just trying to make money.
Yeah,
and they, at the most part, are business people who are apolitical, who maybe default to one or the other, depending on just where.
Depending on who's winning.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest.
But for the most part, they're just like, I don't care, whatever. I'm just trying to make money. So they're not very creative, so they have to trust the creators that they hire. And sadly, you guys are hiring a lot of hippy dippy artists, which read this book promoting these really, really incredibly racist beliefs. And I don't know what to tell you.
It is what it is. I mean,
it's going to cause you to eat yourself, so I don't know.
There's nothing to say. There's nothing we can do other than, like, I can't believe no one has ever addressed this or anything.
Yeah.
But I guess, Oh, since you are not white anymore, you can talk about this and without impunity.
Yeah.
Don't yell at Janet or else Asian hate.
Don't be anti-Asian.
Don't be anti-Asian. by saying, Janet,
God.
you can't speak her mind.
Oh, is that a racial stereotype that you just threw at me? You're telling me to, like, be quiet. Sit down, be quiet, huh? Okay. Yeah, I just thought this idea of, like, original sin, it's so religious. It's really gross.
It's gross as fuck. This is getting a little like, yo, this is getting really creepy that you're telling people to not, see people for the talents that they have or the character they have or, just the really cool personality, goofy personality they have. Color. You see color. Hey, you, color. And that's like, that's not how I grew up, man.
Yeah.
That's not how I grew up. That's not what I was being told. And like the fact that this is the slogan, there's always a fucking slogan in cartoons, right?
Yeah.
No, be kind, reduce, reuse, recycle. There's always some fucking slogan for whatever reason that someone's trying to push. It's kind of fucking disturbing that this is the new slogan that everyone's pushing out, that like, oh, you should see color. I'm like, I don't want you to see my color. I want us to be, but like, let's hang out, let's like talk, let's like get to know each other. I don't want you to just first thing you see is like, oh, not white. Yeah. What? And that's sad because that's the media, like after writing and reading and going over this book so many times, that's probably what she thinks. I mean, I don't like reading other people's mind, but like, I think after listening to this for about 5 hours, I'm pretty sure she'd look at you and what'd she say?
Yellow person.
Yeah.
Oh, look, an Asian. I don't know which one. Probably Korean. And, but, yellow person. She doesn't see Janet. She sees yellow person.
Yeah, and I think that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking fucked up, and I really disagree with that shit. And like, there's a lot of people I know who disagree with that shit, but they can't say anything.
Can't say it.
Because they have jobs on the line. They have kids to feed. They have shit to do. They have actual responsibility and fucking stakes in life. and they can't say anything. So I'm saying something right now. I don't agree with that shit.
No.
I think it's disgusting.
It's really gross.
Yeah.
Because so she explains herself. She's like, when I say you see color, you can't not see color, so you see color. But it's important to acknowledge that you see color, because how can you possibly understand a person of color's struggles if you don't acknowledge that you are ignorant to their life experience? So when you, she commands you now, when you see a person of color, you have to see their color.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. That's not the type of shit people told me to do.
No.
Treat people, Martin Luther King used to be everybody's hero, and now they just don't want to talk about Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. And so I was like, when I see my black friends, I don't go, look, my friend who is black. I go, so and so their name. And how, like, my experiences with them.
Yeah,
I think about all these things.
The memories I've had, like, in the battlefield in college.
Yeah.
Like getting into all sorts of sleepless nights trying to finish projects and things together.
Yeah.
I don't think about white person.
Yeah. And vice versa. I don't want someone to look at me and go, like, that's not Janet, that's an Asian. I'm like, what?
I don't think that's my definition of being seen, man.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care if you understand my plight of being an Asian woman. I don't care. There are other things that I would like you to know me for, other than the fact that my skin color is different from yours.
Oh, man. So there's a lot of bad shit happening. There's, like, tragedy that happened, and there's been a slew of sensational stories about people losing their jobs because of people digging up anti-Asian sentiment tweets from way back when. And it just seems as though the things that they used to do to the Republicans and the conservatives and everyone who just, spoke out against this, this kind of stuff, they're just eating each other now.
Yeah.
Because they've eaten everybody.
Yeah.
And to us, it's kind of... it's been something to behold. And I think, like, we've always opined and we've always talked about, we will get to this day one day where they will actually eat each other and we will watch.
Yeah.
And now that we're here, it's kind of surreal to me. Mm-hmm. And even seeing celebrities kind of bow out and go, like, even Sarah Silverman go, like, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
And then, like, hearing Tim, like, there are a lot of, like, celebrities that reach out to him, this is just... A lot of people, and how conservative do you think LA is?
I think at least 40%.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit more left-leaning, but, like, there's a balance here.
Yeah.
I think no one in the world wants to admit that.
Yeah.
But, for example, there was a huge push for, Arcadia? And everyone went out and, like, protested, which is the craziest thing, because, like, the people in Arcadia are such quiet, they don't want to make trouble type of people, and seeing them, like, protest whatever the fuck they believe in is crazy.
It was amazing.
So what was this about?
So we were eating breakfast in Arcadia at one of our favorite diners there, and we were taking, like, a walk off the food. And it was around right before the election, when everyone was going crazy, and there were a lot of, like, say no to, I think it's either Prop 7 or Prop 17, I forget, the one where, like, it's basically you're allowing businesses and businesses to discriminate. That's literally what that prop was for, and no one got more upset about this proposition more than the Asians,
because they were the ones specifically getting fucked from this bill, right? Yeah,
because I was like, I don't know, like, they're the ones that would probably get fucked the most from this.
I wish I could explain this better. I forgot how to, I remember at the time I knew exactly what this was about, but there has been so many things that's been happening. It's hard to keep track.
What do you mean?
Like, what was this about exactly?
It's that I just explained.
Like, what did the bill say? Like, what did it?
You're allowed to discriminate on race.
Literally, that's what it said, right?
Literally said that, yeah.
Man, fuck me.
Yeah. So, Asians, especially Arcadians, really, like, we keep our head down, work really hard, whatever, get into Harvard, whatever it is. But everyone already knows, like, this is a fact. This is a fact in my school, okay? We all knew that it was going to be harder for us to get into schools like Harvard and Ivy Leagues and stuff. So everyone went, like, Super Saiyan in terms of how hard they worked. Like, yeah, like, they were like, there's no use complaining because no one cares about us, so we will just rise to the occasion.
Through brute force.
Which is, like, classic Asian story.
MO 101.
Yeah. We're not going to complain, we'll just deal with it. So everyone, like, people would go insane. They'd take, like, several AP, like, 5 AP courses, and they're, like, valedictorian, and they're, like, captain of their sports team, and they do all these clubs. Like, I would be considered valedictorian at any other school. I was just
You're just
normal.
a normie.
Normal at the school, okay. And yeah, they knew that, like, this prop position is really bad. And when we were walking, there was like a whole like caravan of people with like say no to prop whatever on the side of their cars. Just a bunch of people that live in Arcadia, like honking their horns, like,
and also
fuck
the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, so like another instance where we were in Pasadena, right down like downtown Pasadena with all the shops and all the stuff. It was like a bunch of Chinese people in their car, another caravan around the same time, that had like basically fuck the CCP on the side of their car, and except
fuck the CCP and organ harvesting.
yeah, and organ harvesting,
right.
but like very rarely was there English.
Yeah.
On it, like it was all written in Chinese.
It's like, oh man.
Yeah, and then they had
share
like
your message.
Yeah, they had bullhorns and they were like shouting, like Chinese, like fuck the CCP, like end organ harvesting and all this stuff, and like you wouldn't believe what's happening over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like in my car, I'm like, good effort, you guys.
They're trying. They tried.
Next time, write it in English because only I can understand you right now. Okay.
I saw a ton of bystanders just like pulling out their phones.
Yeah, they're like, what's happening?
Just being confused.
Yeah.
There's a lot of effort, but I don't think the point came across.
No, I was like, good effort.
Oh.
I respect the passion. Everyone around here is like, what's happening? But that never happens, especially in the Asian community. They don't come out for anything. Unless there's like free food, free anything, they just won't. They're like, I don't care. Keep my head down, work hard, whatever. Racism, tell me the sky is blue. Tell me something I don't know. And they're just like, okay. I was like, that's really interesting to see, and like for things that really matter too, like. It was interesting to see, like, they don't protest for bullshit reasons. Yeah. But they were like, this cannot pass. And
these
it very
Chinese believe this is the greatest conflict
that
America will ever face. And I believe it. In my lifetime, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a doomer, but I'm mentally preparing myself every day for the day we're going to see some sort of conflict with China. Ever since we talked and had that conversation, it's just been on my mind, and we've been you first told me about this like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. And you were like,
and I was like, no, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, you were shocked.
3 or 4 years ago, I thought this was never gonna happen. I'm just like slowly watching America eat itself every day. And you know what it is to me? It's like a really fucked up relationship, you know? It's like we're supposed to, you know, come here and live with each other. But, you know, in what healthy relationship does one guilt trip another and like say, you know, I'm still mad at you because of this thing that happened a long time ago. And it's like, fuck, man. I like, if that's the road that we're going to go, we're never going to get anywhere new. We're just going to keep hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're just hell-bent on this path. And I'm just watching it, feeling powerless. The only thing I can do is talk bullshit in this microphone and this camera, but there's nothing, and no one cares, and everyone's distracted, and everyone's falling for some asshole's bullshit all the time.
So like for like Robin Diangelo, for example, one of the things that I'm not sure about her is I can't tell if she's being disingenuously removing context from a lot of the things she says. So I can't tell if she's genuinely ignorant about like some of the like data points that she brings up and the stories and history and whatever, or if she is intentionally hiding half of the story. So for example, she talks about, I think in the first chapter or second chapter, she talks about like racism versus classism and why racism is more of a factor than classism. And she brings up this statistic that she says like in the past however many years, the rich have only gotten richer and the poor have only gotten poorer. Factually, this is correct. Technically, this is correct. But it does not say what you think it says. It doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't mean only the rich people have gotten rich and the poor are just getting like their money sucked out of them by the rich. What it means is like there's a wealth disparity, yes, but she's completely glossing over the fact that like people have upward mobility. The people who are poor most of the time do not stay poor.
There's so many people calling bullshit on you right now. I could hear it right now.
That's a fact.
How do you know it's a fact?
Because Thomas Sowell said, like, explain this study. Like, Thomas Sowell is an economist who would know better about this particular statistic than Robin Diangelo, quite frankly. And he was like, people like to use this statistic all the time. All the time. To, like,
he even like prepared for it too.
Yeah.
And I forgot which book it was, but then he was just like, yeah, people say this shit all the time, don't fall for it.
Yeah.
And then us listening to the White Fragility show, I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Just like he warned.
Just like he said.
Yeah.
Because like most people in their lifetime and intergenerationally go up in life. Think about yourself. Think about your family. My parents came here with nothing. Now they have something, and we're able to make it so that I have something, and I can be better than them. And hopefully, like, generations to come, like, my parents didn't stay dirt poor. Like, no, almost no one stays dirt poor like that. And he was like, this statistic fundamentally ignores this, and people like to use it for whatever purpose because it sounds good, I guess, politically. And when she said this, she conveniently just said it. And if it were just once or twice, I'd be like, maybe she doesn't know. Maybe it just suits her argument, so she's just saying it this one time. But she keeps doing it. She keeps doing it not only for like statistical data, so like she's basically trying to use science to convince people who are very like, science, I believe in science, to convince them, but then she also uses history. She's like, historically black people suffered the most in this date or this era for this law change or whatever. But she talks as if it's still happening. That's the thing. Like, it's like, yes, but you're glossing over the fact that we don't live in that era anymore. That, like, she keeps referring back to Jim Crow South. And I'm just like, you're saying that as if that has anything to do with me. Or with anyone, with any immigrant.
Your parents immigrated to America in the 80s? Yes?
Yes, in the 80s. So I'm like,
you need to know these things.
What does this have to do with them? It doesn't make sense, and I can't help. Again, we can't mind read her, so we can't know for sure. But it feels really like you keep hiding half the truth from people. And the thing is, I know better because I've read a lot, and I can think for myself. But a lot of people are ignorant to a lot of these things simply because they're not a nerd like me. So like, I was like, this is really not okay. And I kept comparing it to like Ben's book because Ben kind of does the same thing, honestly, just not as egregiously. He'll like talk shit about anyone who is not as conservative as him. So like Glenn Greenwald and like whatever in that book, which I don't know, but I feel like his opinions have changed a lot on certain people, like especially with how crazy things have gotten recently. A lot of people have left the left or just are like, I'm not for this much craziness. So maybe he's changed, I don't know. But it doesn't disregard the fact that Ben will sometimes do that too. It's just, I was kind of like shocked at just exactly how like disingenuous a lot of Diangelo's like historical facts and data, like scientific study facts. She keeps bringing up these things that does not prove what she says it proves. Like she brought up this story about like there was a study or something that shows like, oh, children are inherently more biased or whatever, and then she had this like hypothetical that she brought up, like, oh, what does it say when like in society if like you're in the grocery store and let's say you're like a white woman pushing a cart with like your baby in it, and like you push the cart past like this black man who's also doing grocery shopping, and your baby goes, "Look, Mom, a black man." And then what do you think most people would do? And then most people would go like, "Shh, you can't say that." And then she was like, you know what would be better? To teach a child to go like, "Yes, isn't he gorgeous?" And I was like, I don't know why, but that seems even more offensive to me.
So lately, because of all of this stuff that's been happening, you've been getting all sorts of attention.
Oh yeah.
Going out in the wild. So for example, we went out grocery store shopping, out to a really nice Malaysian restaurant, now that things are opened up here in Los Angeles, and people treating you kind of funny.
Yeah.
People were treating you funny 6 months ago, and then people treating you a different kind of funny now.
Yeah. So I think I first noticed this like last weekend or something, where like when everything was going down with the anti-Asian stuff, and I went out. We were like going out to eat, and we did a little shopping, I think, and everyone was really nice to me. Like abnormally nice to me. And I was like, I hope this isn't what I think it is. And if it is, this is really gross.
Yeah, man.
Because I know it's not because of anything other than like, oh, we're not racist, okay? And I'm like, it is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. And
Chill.
I also thought, I am a principled person, and I'm not going to take advantage of this.
Yeah.
Because this is gross.
Just treat me normal.
Just be normal.
That's what I want. Don't look at my skin color.
Yeah.
You don't need to see that. Just see my weird fucking personality. You don't like it, leave.
Yeah.
You like it, let's hang out. Like, that's it.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Whatever.
Why does it have to be not white?
Yeah. Oh, look, she's Asian. Granted, you're Asian as well, but she's like, oh, look, Asian, they didn't treat you any better. They're just like, oh, really nice to meet. Like, like, these are places like we frequent, so I'm like, weird, okay. But at the same time, even though I know I'm a principled person, I know there are definitely people out there who would take advantage of this feeling, this thing that I was experiencing. And I was like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
Even if I'm like, quote unquote, benefiting from it, I don't care. This is gross. This is gross. I don't want to participate in this. And then...
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, I don't have a choice, apparently. I'm oppressed, if you haven't heard. But this is very different. Literally last year, like a year ago today, where like when COVID happened, I felt a lot of weird animosity that I can't prove was because of race, but honestly, when you feel it, sometimes you just know. But, I can't prove it. So, there's an instance with me, and then there's an instance with my parents. It happens a lot more with my parents because they're immigrants, therefore they have broken English, they have accents. Typically, racism is directed towards those people more than people like myself in LA. So for me, I went to like a Ralph's, and we were doing grocery shopping, and I was trying to get some fried chicken, and I was just standing there for the longest time, staring down the lady, trying, like, it was like early in the morning. No one else was there. It was just me. And I was like patiently just quietly waiting for her to finally service me, because it's just her and me, right? Like, just, I'm staring at you. We're making eye contact. I need help. Can I please get my fried chicken? And ignores me. And I'm like, what do I have to do? Like, do I literally have to yell while you're looking at me in the eye?
I need fried chicken.
Yeah. And then this like other guy comes over with his daughter. She immediately services him. Immediately sees him. Immediately services him. And then like, I'm not going away. Like, he leaves, and I'm just standing there like
Chinese.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And
This was height of Corona, I think, when you told me this.
yeah. Finally, she's like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can I get like, I don't know,
Chicken fingers?
Yeah, chicken fingers, whatever it was I was getting." And then like she like grabs it. When she's handing it to me, she like really quickly like hands it to me. And then
I don't want the COVID. I don't want the COVID. Ah!
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
And I was like, that was weird. And I tell you about it. And I was like, is that... Because this is so abnormal in LA. I was like, is that what I think that was?
I think that's what I think it was. I think she thinks you're some sort of COVID hive.
Oh my god. And then, so like, I was like, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, and that's like I just think racism's stupid as fuck.
Yes.
And the fact that we're like giving it so much power just gives the fucking thing more power. And I just laugh at it because it's stupid fucking people being stupid. And, but I don't internalize it. I don't make it a cocktail story like so many other people do.
Can you believe what this woman did to me? And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna say that. People were panicking because of this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then like with my parents, it's so much worse. At the height of right before America even knew about this thing that was happening, everyone who's Chinese already knew about it. My parents, they listen to Chinese news. It's the only way they get their news. And on the news, they tend to be really hyperbolic about a lot of things. So like my mom sends me weird articles about like, hold on to your purse in a very weird way so like you don't get robbed or whatever. Or like sit down on the ground, like weird Asian things. And then she sent me this article or something, and she was like, there's this really bad thing that's going around, like wear gloves, wear masks, all this stuff. And they started wearing gloves and masks like
all the time,
early January, I think, even before, like maybe late December. The saddest part is like Chinese media really scares their citizens and other people, like Chinese American citizens as well.
More than us?
Yeah. They really try to make them fearful. So like my parents, Asians are like really scared of COVID. Like really scared, which is why they don't go outside.
Your town is almost decimated.
It's really sad. Because they're not even gonna go out to support their own businesses because they're too scared of it. So my parents, they're like wearing masks right as the news is breaking, I guess. And they're just like they went to like AAA. They went to like deal with their like auto insurance, and they came to visit me afterwards, and they were basically really frustrated. They were like venting to me about how like they were treating us really badly at like the car insurance place, because they kept on being really rude to us and like really mean and all that stuff. And my dad, being kind of exactly like me, if not worse, kind of raised his voice and was like, why are you treating me this way? Like, it like, what is the problem here? And then they're like, oh, okay, sorry. But because now he's like making it like, hey, everyone, look at this piece of shit here being kind of racist to me. But my dad was just like ranting. He was just ranting to me, and I was like, this happens all the time to them, even before COVID. And what everyone doesn't want to talk about, what everyone is ignoring in this whole anti-Asian thing, is like, most of the crimes committed towards Asians are committed by other minorities. But everyone's blaming white people. Why? We're not talking about just maybe we're all people and we all kind of suck and like we all hate each other.
We want to hurt each other.
And we want to hurt each other for some reason. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to say that, but like, same thing with like the Jews. According to Robin Diangelo, Jews are white. Okay.
Oh, but you know, a few months ago you were white.
Yeah, so like, maybe that'll change. Right now,
well, Ben Shapiro, you might be a person of color, dare I say.
Depending on how much hate crime is committed.
I see.
I guess. So like, maybe in a year, I will be white again. But as of right now, look at me, I'm a person of color again. But because of that, I really believe that like this is disgusting, and I don't, especially after this past year, these people don't care about me. They don't care about Asians. They don't care about you. They don't care about, hey, other Asians out there, other fellow yellows, as Robin Diangelo would say it, they don't care about you. Everyone who's saying, include Asians in your anti-racism, they're not gonna. Because last year, a few years ago, they weren't gonna.
Oh, you didn't matter.
But I didn't matter. I didn't matter last year. So, yeah, they're just trying to use you. They're just trying to use me, and it really makes me feel icky. I go like, don't do that. Don't do that to me. And I really genuinely don't know how many people are falling for it. And yeah, it's gross. Really gross.
Yeah, man. I don't know what else to say. It's infuriating, and it's getting more blatant, and it's everywhere. This book,
yeah,
it's everywhere.
It's
and
everywhere.
I don't even think the people who are hiring, I don't even think the executives who greenlight this stuff, you know, all of this content laced with this stuff, I don't even think they understand what the fuck they're greenlighting. So I hope the executives who listen to us understand that we think this is appalling, and it makes me sad that like this is being spread everywhere, mm-hmm. and that everyone's just enabling it, you know?
Yeah.
And no one's doing anything about it. No one's saying how uncomfortable it's making everything. Mm-hmm. You know, we just have to, like Diangelo says, just sit there and take it. Well, we're not, you and I, not really the type to sit and take it.
No. And so she also kind of glosses over interracial couples and relationships. She doesn't call them interracial. She calls them cross-racial for some reason. I don't understand. But she basically said she hasn't thought clearly through all of this. Disclaimer here. But she was like, the person who is least oppressed can't possibly understand the other person who is more oppressed, even if you were to date or get married and have children. and
we thought that was appalling.
I was like,
I can't believe you.
That's so racist.
I've been in many an interracial relationship, and that is not true to me. I enjoy the other person's mind and what they're thinking, and you know, bodice and, you know, all that other stuff. But like, I don't think that, like, I don't think that I'll never be able to relate to you on a human level. I feel like we relate to each other. I feel like through this podcast we've shown people how we relate to each other. Yeah. We talked about how we like everything, like our differences, mm-hmm. our core differences, and that stuff
His personality.
personality.
Not skin color related.
Yeah.
And then we had this interesting thought, or question, I guess, for you guys out there. Are we, you and I, an interracial couple? I'm not sure, because some people don't consider you Asian.
Yeah, no. I told you the story when I was painting in the Starbucks.
Yeah.
The one, on the, next to the AMC, and the one next to Cartoon Network and Octopus and all this stuff. God, I hope all those restaurants are still open. I was painting with my Pashad box. I was doing a gouache painting just right there in the patio of the Starbucks with my, I call it crack cocaine, but it's more specifically the vanilla. What is it? Ice white chocolate mocha.
It's just straight
it's just
sugar.
straight sugar. It's just straight sugar
Starbucks?
from Starbucks. So I'm drinking that. I'm having a grand old time painting, and this homeless looking dude goes up to me and said, "Wow, look at you. You're painting. I didn't know you Mexicans could paint now." And I just chuckled to myself as he walked away. Like he just needed to share that as if it were a compliment, and as if I would, I don't know how to feel about it, because it's just wrong. The statement is just wrong,
so wrong
all across the board. So I just chuckled to myself and go keep painting.
Yeah. There's so many instances where people have mistaken you for Mexican. So many times.
At school, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I'm not going to cancel people.
Yeah, for it.
I just think what drives a person to cancel? I don't understand it. I don't understand. So we use a lot of creative energy, right? We make 3 videos a week together, and I don't know how many we'll have in the future. Actually, we know what we have planned in the next 8 months. But I think if you're gonna cancel someone, doesn't that require a lot of energy? Doesn't that require a lot of you trying to really drum up all this drama and all of this animosity? I just feel man, don't people have better things to do? But clearly they're kind of just bored children, because they can't do anything in life. They go, this is the best I can do. I'm gonna fucking yell at this person at Twitter. How dare you be this and this and this and that? As if what the fuck are you? You're just some fucking dude behind your little keyboard.
Especially 20-somethings.
Who don't have their shit together.
Yeah, I used to think it's early 20-somethings, but I think it's all 20-somethings and under. They don't have any idea what they're talking about. They haven't done their research, and they're just parroting a lot of things, and people have told them to be angry about this or to be judgmental about this, and that you're morally superior because you believe the same way we do, and then they feel like they need to stand up for their side. But part of me wonders too, what is the actual emotion behind some of these words? Because it could be I hate you, or it could just be hee hee, I'm gonna tell them I hate them. I hate you. And then
I'm gonna get so many followers. People are gonna call me a hero. This is so great.
Yeah. So I'm it's without knowing what the other person truly feels, how strong. Sometimes people type in all caps or whatever, and then I guess. But how strongly do people really believe in a lot of this stuff? But I guess that brings me to, I have weird feelings about all this anti-Asian stuff, because even a few months ago, when I first started YouTube, it was the first time I got a massive amount of racist comments ever in my life.
It's a lot.
Because people normally don't say racist stuff to your face, especially if you clearly were born here.
Oh, but man, when English. You did the why I quit Disney and all sorts of stuff, people calling you all sorts of shit.
All sorts of stuff. Yeah. Wow, you said that. You fucking said that. Implying a lot of things if they don't want to be outright racist.
Yeah, just I'm gonna imply my racism. She has a silver spoon in her mouth. She's like a dumb rich bitch.
Yeah.
She's a dumb rich Asian
why
bitch.
Why the fuck do you think that?
Yeah.
My family had nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they worked really hard to afford the things they have. And that's disgusting to me.
It's pretty fucking disgusting.
But there's a person during the whole BLM thing who left a comment. I think I deleted it. But, like, they left a comment like, you should draw someone's like a black person to show solidarity with BLM. First of all, other than, like, the race thing, I don't like when anyone tells me what to do.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not gonna do it.
Bad move. You don't tell Jan what to do. Even I don't. No, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I'm mad at you.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
And I was like,
bad move, man.
I will do it if I want to do it. But now that you told me to do it, yeah, I for sure won't do what you tell me.
Yeah.
But also, I remember responding like, I have already done it. Like, I don't feel like I need to prove to anyone I'm not racist by drawing a black person. If you've seen my reacting to my old high school, college art, I have always drawn people of all different races. And
it's how we're able to paint and draw all sorts of people. We wouldn't be effective at our job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I was just like, you know, I see a lot of virtue signaling and a lot of people who are just saying it just to say it for like woke points or whatever.
Followers.
And you know what? I've done it already. Like, I don't know. I've drawn a black person before. And then they, you know, I'm pretty sure this was a troll or whatever. They didn't want to me to win this. So they were like, oh, of course an Asian would say that that would be your response. That's so racist that like an Asian would say this. That like typical. Like, oh,
that's when you were still white, right?
Yeah, this is when I was still white after Corona time happened.
Right.
And they were like, oh, you, what was it? Your response to someone asking you to draw a black person is that you already have. Like, oh, how racist. Of course, typical of an Asian. And I was like, you, my friend, are incredibly racist. But as an Asian person, I guess I just have to take it.
I guess. And what choice do we have, according to D'Angelo?
Yeah. I was like, what is...
Once white Janet. What was once white Janet supposed to do?
Like,
I was so fucking
like,
stupid. I can't believe we're teaching children this. This is fucking stupid.
There's no response I could have had to that. I'm like, first of all, you're calling me racist? That comment, my friend. That comment. And I just kept being like, there's so much that doesn't make sense here. Let's say this person watches our channel, ignores the fact that I'm with you, ignores the fact that I am with someone who is a brown Asian, I guess. Most people think you're Mexican or some kind of Hispanic.
Something.
You're ambiguous depending on whoever is looking at you.
I am whatever you think I am.
What does it prove to you that I have to? What does it do if you forced me to do something?
It's power.
It's power.
This person wants power over you. These children want to say, fucking obey me, and then fucking obey me. Oh, you can't do the kind of art. That's bad. You can't do that
You're
shit.
Racist.
I heard some shit who heard some shit and who heard some shit from somebody who heard some shit that shit's bad. You can't do that shit. You can't make your fucking art.
Yeah. Canceled. We don't like this person. And I go like, you really want to call me racist? You really want to call me racist? Me, the person who like, you don't even understand that like I have family that like don't accept you, like as my partner.
Oh yeah.
Because you are not Chinese.
Oh, I'm not, yeah.
I had family who was visiting here from China.
Like, why him?
Yeah,
why is she with him?
That was asking as like old school Chinese grandmother, the same one that was like, be a lady. You're always berating me for not being like a good daughter, like Mulan, everything, all that stuff. Asked my grandma, why do you allow her to date someone like that? And I was kind of like,
oh no.
Typical.
Yeah.
I guess. And then
fucking old person being an old person.
Yeah, well, no, this is my cousin.
Oh, fucking person from communist China person being communist China person.
And my grandmother. This is my grandmother. She was
ancient. She's really
set
old.
in her ways.
Terrifying looking in the face because she looks like a skeleton, walking skeleton.
And she was like, whatever makes her happy. That is what America does. You guys, my old ass grandmother said that to my Chinese communist cousin.
Go America.
Yeah.
Go fucking America. This place fucking rules, man.
Yeah. And I was
USA.
Not expecting that.
USA.
I was not expecting that.
That was cool.
And
that was really cool.
Like same thing with my parent. Like my parents, like very like kind to you. But, like, even with, like, your family, like, I wasn't accepted into your family because I'm Chinese. Like, if I were Filipino and Catholic...
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Easy.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's just, I just don't think it's productive to fucking, like, I don't know, always hang it over someone's shoulder so they can't live? I don't want that for anybody.
And, like, it didn't matter how much I had accomplished in my life. It didn't matter who I was and how like much I was trying. Like it didn't matter. Not what they wanted. So until I got hired at DreamWorks, and then everything changed.
Oh yeah, because status is important to everyone.
Humans are disgusting.
Yeah, I know.
And like,
isn't that the point of End of Evangelion?
Yeah.
That's why I fucking love that thing so much. It's just humanity on display.
So like you really want to call me racist? Okay. Okay. Like me or my family? It's like no, my family that has lived here, even like there's so much different about my parents and like my side of the family that has basically assimilated, even if it doesn't seem like it.
Being an American, net good, mostly positive.
Mostly positive. Actually, no, all positive.
All positive. It's pretty great being an American.
Like
fucking In and Out.
Clearly seeing
Craigslist. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Clearly seeing the difference in like just what being here in America changes a person's ability to like be accepting, and people want to like people like Robin Diangelo want to like use this weird really racist way of thinking to like be like no, even if you are with someone of a different race, you have to see them, you have to see their skin color or whatever, you have to. That I think is awful, is absolutely awful. And yeah, at the end of the day, I read the entirety of the book, and the very last chapter, she addresses finally the point where people who listen to her, hear her out, and go like, by all of your rules, doesn't that inherently mean that you yourself are racist? Aren't you guilty? Shouldn't you feel all this immense guilt and all this stuff? And she basically goes like, no, I don't feel any guilt. Like, yes, I live in this racist system. Yes, she admits that she is racist. She goes like, no, I'm exempt. She straight up goes like, I'm exempt because I've done the work. And I was like, wait, so literally she's like, if you disagree with me, you're racist. Like, you can't even go agree to disagree. Even if you say I disagree with you, she'll be like, you're
It's 'cause
wrong.
you're a racist.
It's because you're a racist, yeah. And like, what is this? What is this messed up world we live in where only you are right? Patron Saint Diangelo. Person who wrote the Bible.
I am not
for
worthy.
this religion.
I totally just see color. As soon as I see a color, I go, color. Jesus Christ. I'm kind of fucking dystopian. I didn't know I'd fucking grow old in this kind of fucking world, man. I didn't know. I didn't know. Fuck, man.
And you were genuinely saying that, like, you think she needs help.
I think she needs help. I think people need to. So, audibletrial.com, Honey and Absinthe podcast. Use your token to read this book because somehow I'm sure it benefits her financially. This lady fucking needs help.
She
fucking needs help. There's something wrong with her, and it's Hollywood executives. You are perpetuating this.
Yeah.
Like, please stop doing this. Like, you're like, it's disgusting.
I would say her book is like the most racist thing I've ever encountered in my life, I think.
In all of my life, too.
It's on par with Birth of a Nation. It's that racist. There's so many times where I was like, just gobsmacked with how
wow, that's crazy.
Racist.
I think it's been almost 100 years since Griffith made that movie. Man, Diangelo bringing things full circle.
We progressed so far.
Yeah, so far.
Trying to go back to that era.
Jesus
she is.
Christ, man.
And at the end of the day, does this help anything? The whole idea, I feel like, is prevalent about people who believe in this stuff is like, well, if it can do some good, it's worth it.
Does it do any good?
But does it do any good whatsoever to think like this? Like to assume other people think like this?
Has a white person ever apologized to you?
No.
For being white?
Has a white person apologized to you?
Yeah. And I think this person went to school with this person. This person is one. Is it my class? Your top graduating class, basically?
A little bit earlier.
Yeah. This person delivered, I forgot what you call it, a statement or whatever. Top of the
valedictorian. Yeah.
And this person, for whatever reason, something was going on in the news. Who knows? I don't know what was going on that day, but this person felt compelled to apologize to me for being white. And me and my other design partner went, "You're fine. You are the most sweetest, angelic, awesome person in the world. Like, you're totally fine." But like, that was the first time a white person ever apologized to me for being white. And I was like, the one thing that the first thing I thought was like, I don't like that society is forcing you to do that for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like that's necessary whatsoever. We are in this job to do good work for this project, this art project, and you don't need to apologize to me for anything. And I just think that this type of culture that people like Diangelo are cultivating is this isn't like I want a good peaceful world where we all like fucking figure out how to do amazing things, but this isn't the way, man.
No,
this isn't the way.
It's really sad to have people apologize for their race.
Yeah, I don't want you to do that. That's like, what does it say about like our culture that people have to do that? That even happened to me.
Yeah,
and it's so fucked up. And that this person who like, I don't know of any, like we talked about, there's like the evil version of Janet. This is also a person who has their shit together. Mm-hmm. Like their shit seriously together, and like this person doesn't need to apologize to anybody.
No.
But it makes me angry. It makes me angry thinking that this person feels compelled and pressured to do this for whatever reason, and I'm sure this isn't like the last time.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
Really
so
sucks.
like Diangelo has this story near the end of the book where she usually is never at fault in any of these stories. She paints herself as a very enlightened, she's a winner in most situations. And it usually ends in like a person of color thanking her, or what she thinks is a person of color thanking her. And I forget, she like made a rude comment that offended one of her coworkers or something like that, or a person of color who she was working with. And the person confronted her and was like, hey, I was worked all my life to be taken seriously. I don't want to like talk about, I think it was like her hair or something. Like it's just weird. And then Diangelo apologizes profusely and goes like, it wasn't my intention, I'm so sorry, and just like listens to her. And her coworker, I guess, was just like, yeah, that's fine, just letting you know. And then she explains her steps of what you're supposed to do. So she already apologized on the spot. She then said, okay, I then have to go and like talk about this out, like really like internalize this with a fellow white. And then I have to go back and schedule a meeting with her to formally apologize to her again. And then ask her, is there anything I can do better? And then like the person was like, oh, well, there's this other stuff, but you know, it's fine. And then was she was like, oh, this was a learning moment for me or something like that. And I was like, that to me, if I were in the other person's shoes, would make me really uncomfortable. Like really, if my coworker was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. And then like comes back later, you know, that one time, I'm really, really sorry. I'm like, is there anything I can do better? Is there anything I can do for you?
No, I said
like,
it was fine.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay? It's fine. It's weird. That's really weird. Why did she have to consult with her white friend? I don't understand.
Fellow white, how do I diffuse this situation?
Yeah. How do
I don't know, fellow
this?
white. What is your first guttural instinct, fellow white?
I think that is really harmful because, like, what you really don't want is people to really pay attention to minute differences of race. Because, I don't know if you guys know this, but China has wanted to take over Taiwan for a very long time. If you understand the history of Taiwan, there's like animosity there. Okay. And a lot of my friends, like I grew up, basically all my friends are like Taiwanese. And right now, like the chances of China invading Taiwan in the next 10 years or less.
An inevitability.
Yes.
It's going to happen.
Like we're making this prediction right now. It's going to happen. And
we don't want it to happen.
It's not
I
gonna be
hate that
pretty.
it's going to happen. I hate how unpleasant and just disgusting that's going to be.
And that is not going to fly very well with the Taiwanese Americans here in America. And if you want everyone to be so focused on race, what do you think is going to happen when that happens? The same thing that happens between like the Armenians and the Turks. The same thing that happens.
Lots of violence that popped up.
Yeah.
Just because of what was going overseas.
Mm-hmm.
There was animosity here.
When that was going down, I pay attention to local news. There's a lot of stuff that happens here that isn't reported anywhere, and people got.
Oh, and when they get reported, they specifically don't mention details.
Yeah.
I don't know, for whatever reason.
Race, age, gender, sometimes they just don't want to mention it. And I saw quite a few stories that were like, some people died because of that. Because, like, it's a Turkish restaurant. The people who committed the crime were certain people. And you don't want people to be so focused on race if that happens, because like I can really imagine like the Chinese and Taiwanese going at it.
Yeah, we're supposed to be Americans. That's like what breaks my heart. Like, hey, not here. Yeah. We're Americans, dude.
Yeah. Like I remember, like, because I am Chinese and I grew up in a very Taiwanese town, my mom had to explain to me the history of all that stuff and like what I can and can't say.
Oh, wow.
Because you don't want to like
offend
completely on accident.
Right.
Like, because you don't know anything.
Right.
Like there's the same way that like, depending on what country you're from, you have animosity for other countries because of your parents sometimes, because they have animosity towards whatever. So like growing up, there were a lot of Taiwanese people, Taiwanese Americans at my school that would be like openly really like angry if you accidentally called them Chinese.
Yeah, I remember falling into that sometimes. I was like, oh, and especially at school where you're just like exposed to all sorts of cultures, like, oh, Taiwanese, like, oh, like this and that. Like, no, I'm not Chinese.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. And it would always be like a sore spot. It'd be one of those things I was like, oh, whoa. Didn't mean to step on that pile of shit. Whoops. I don't know anything. I just came from, I'm just some dude from LA. I don't know shit.
Yeah. So that's going to happen probably. And it's going to suck. But no one cares.
What are we recommending?
We are recommending Laytonicles. Laytonicles.
Yes.
He is a really great new YouTuber who also
very fun to listen to.
Yes, comedian. He reviewed White Fragility in its entirety, and I really liked listening to his explanation of how he feels.
So we've heard about White Fragility for a very long time now.
Yeah.
And we've always been really curious, but we just were like, I don't want to fucking cringe.
Do that to myself.
Do that to myself. But the reason why we did this podcast was directly inspired by his videos.
Yeah.
It was so fun, and the way he went about it was so, just from the gut.
Yeah. And very
not mincing words, honest
too.
And intelligent. Yeah.
And not taking any of it too seriously.
Yeah.
But again, the same weird stuff that is said about me because I'm putting myself online, he gets some weird, not okay, things I cannot repeat kind of comments.
Can't repeat.
Yeah. But you should all go watch his stuff because I really like his content.
He does like 4 videos on this book. So if you enjoyed this, I mean, you're gonna enjoy his stuff 1 million times more. I'm sure. Yes.
So that's it for this episode of the podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, jingle all my bells and buttons. Head over to honeyandabsinthe.com to help support this channel by buying some merch. And if you'd like to listen to more episodes of this podcast, check out these videos over here. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.